Hi, Mom. Do you have a minute to chat?
Alex! Hello, my dear. Of course. I always have time for you. It is so good to see your face. Is everything all right? You did not usually call me in the middle of a weekday.
Everything is fine. Do not worry. I was just taking a little break from my work, and I was thinking about you. And I was also thinking about your cooking.
Oh, my cooking? That is a nice thing to think about. I hope you are not just eating frozen pizzas and instant noodles in your new apartment. Are you eating well?
I am trying. I am learning to cook some simple things. But I have to be honest, nothing I make tastes as good as the food you make.
You are just being sweet, but thank you.
No, I really mean it. And I was actually calling for a specific reason. I have a craving for something from my childhood, and I was hoping you could help me.
A craving? That sounds serious. What is it that you are craving so much?
I am craving a big, warm bowl of your simple tomato soup, the one you always used to make. It is starting to get a little bit colder here, and that soup is all I can think about. It is the perfect comfort food.
My tomato soup? I am so happy you remember that. It makes me so happy to know that you still think of my cooking. Of course, I can help you with that.
You can? I was hoping you would be willing to share the recipe with me. I want to try to make it myself this weekend.
Share the recipe? Alex, it would be my absolute honor to share it with you. There is no big secret to it. The most important secret is to just use good, simple ingredients.
Okay, I am ready. I have a pen and a piece of paper here. I am going to write everything down. What do I need to buy from the supermarket?
All right, let's make a shopping list. It is a very short list, which is one of the best things about this recipe.
Simple is good for me. I am still a beginner in the kitchen.
First, you will need the main ingredient, tomatoes. We can talk more about which kind to get later. Next, you will need 1 large yellow onion and about 3 or 4 cloves of garlic.
Okay, tomatoes, 1 yellow onion, and 4 cloves of garlic. I can handle that.
Then, you will need some good quality vegetable broth. You can usually buy this in a carton at the supermarket. And the most important ingredient for the flavor is a big bunch of fresh basil. Do not buy the dried basil in a jar. It must be fresh.
Fresh basil. I will remember that. Is that everything?
Just a few basic things that you probably already have. Some olive oil, salt, and black pepper. That is the entire list of ingredients. See? Very simple.
That is a very manageable list. Thank you. So, when I have all my ingredients, what is the first step in the cooking process?
The first step is to prepare your vegetables. We call this the prep work. First, you need to chop the onion. You should chop it into small, even pieces.
I am not very good at chopping onions. I always cry. Do you have any tips for that?
A lot of people have that problem. Some people say that if you put the onion in the freezer for about 10 minutes before you chop it, it helps. But the most important thing is to use a very sharp knife. A sharp knife cuts the onion cleanly and releases fewer of the chemicals that make you cry.
A sharp knife. I will try that. And what about the garlic?
For the garlic, you should mince it. That just means you chop it into very, very tiny little pieces. The smaller the pieces, the more flavor you will get.
Okay, so I have my chopped onion and my minced garlic. I am ready for the next step.
Perfect! Now it is time to start cooking. You need to take a large pot or a saucepan and put it on the stove over medium heat. Add a tablespoon of olive oil to the pot and let it get warm.
And then I add the onions and garlic?
Exactly. You add the chopped onion and the minced garlic to the warm oil. Then you need to sauté them. That just means you cook them while stirring them gently for about 5 minutes.
And how do I know when they are ready?
You will know because they will become very soft and translucent, which means a little bit see-through, and your whole kitchen will start to smell absolutely amazing. That delicious smell is the foundation of the soup's flavor.
I can almost smell it now. My kitchen is going to smell like home.
It certainly will. Okay, so after your onions and garlic are soft and fragrant, it is time to add the tomatoes.
Now, about the tomatoes, you said we would talk about which kind to use. Should I buy fresh tomatoes from the vegetable section?
You can, but you would need to chop them all up, and sometimes the fresh tomatoes at the supermarket are not very ripe or flavorful. I am going to tell you a little secret. My secret is that I almost always use canned tomatoes for this soup.
Canned tomatoes? Really? I thought fresh was always better.
Not always. The tomatoes that are used for canning are picked when they are perfectly ripe and red, so they are full of flavor. For a simple soup like this, a large can of whole peeled tomatoes is actually the perfect choice. It is also much easier because you do not have to do any chopping.
That is a great tip. Easier is always better for me. So, I add the whole can of tomatoes to the pot.
Yes, the tomatoes and all the juice from the can. Then you add the vegetable broth as well. You give everything a good stir, and then you let it simmer.
Simmer? What does it mean to let it simmer?
Simmering is a gentle way of cooking. You bring the soup to a boil, which is when you see big bubbles. Then you immediately turn the heat down to low so that you only see very small, gentle bubbles. You put a lid on the pot and let it cook like that for about 20 minutes.
Okay, so I will let it simmer for 20 minutes. This part sounds relaxing.
It is. This is the part of the process that makes all the flavors come together. This is the time when I used to let you help me in the kitchen when you were a little boy.
I remember that. You used to give me a little wooden spoon and let me stir the pot, even though you had already done all the real stirring.
You were my official soup taster. You would take your job very seriously. You always used to steal pieces of bread to dip in the pot when I was not looking.
I remember doing that. This soup really does bring back so many happy memories. It was the best thing to eat on a cold, rainy day after school.
It was. I loved making it for you. Okay, back to the recipe. After the soup has simmered for 20 minutes, all the vegetables will be very soft. The next step is to blend the soup.
Blend it? Why do I need to do that?
You need to blend it to make it smooth and creamy. Right now, you will have big chunks of tomato and onion in your pot. Blending it turns it into the velvety, smooth soup that you remember.
How do I do that? Do I need a special tool?
The easiest way is to use an immersion blender, also called a stick blender. It is a long tool that you can put directly into the hot pot to blend the soup.
I do not think I have one of those.
That is okay. You can also use a regular blender, the kind you use to make smoothies. But you have to be very, very careful. You should let the soup cool down a little bit first, and you should only fill the blender up halfway. Hot liquid can create a lot of pressure in a blender.
That is a very important safety tip. I will be very careful. So, after I have safely blended the soup until it is smooth, what is next? Is it finished?
It is almost finished. There are just 2 very important finishing touches left. This is what makes the soup taste really special.
I am ready for the final secrets.
After the soup is blended and smooth, you put it back on the stove on a very low heat. Now you take your fresh basil leaves and you add them to the soup. You should tear the leaves with your hands, not chop them with a knife.
Why do you add the fresh basil at the very end?
Because basil is a very delicate herb. If you cook it for a long time, it loses its beautiful, fresh flavor. By adding it at the very end, the soup will have a wonderful, fragrant basil taste.
And what is the final step?
The final step is to taste. You take a spoon and you taste the soup. Then you season it with a little bit of salt and pepper. You add a little, you stir, and you taste again until it is absolutely perfect.
Taste and season. That sounds like the most important part. And what is the best way to serve your famous tomato soup?
Well, in our family, there is only one correct way to serve it.
And what is that?
You have to serve it with a hot, buttery grilled cheese sandwich. The sandwich is for dipping into the soup. The combination of the creamy soup and the cheesy, crunchy sandwich is just perfect.
A grilled cheese sandwich for dipping. My mouth is watering just thinking about it. That is a perfect meal.
It is a little bowl of happiness.
Mom, thank you so much. You have explained everything so perfectly. I have written down all the steps, and I feel like I can actually do this.
I know you can, my dear. It is a very forgiving recipe. You cannot really make a mistake.
I am going to make it this Saturday, and I promise I will take a picture of my finished soup and my grilled cheese sandwich, and I will send it to you.
I would love that more than anything. It will make me so proud to see you cooking my recipe in your own kitchen.